Lagom is the Swedish lifestyle philosophy, translating as not too much and not too little. It means to have just the right amount of everything, the moderate choice between two extremes. The romanticized version of the roots of Lagom comes from a story of the Vikings passing around a horn of mead. Lagom, or around the team, meant that the mead had to make it to everyone's lips, requiring that each Viking only take an adequate sip so that there would be some for everyone. The real roots are actually a little more basic than that. In Swedish, lag means law, and in Old Swedish, lagom translates roughly as according to the law, which makes lagom a social construct that relates to creating a just society, encouraging members of society to not just abide by the written law, but also to practice common sense. Lagom is a thread that ties many parts of Swedish society and culture together, the cornerstone of personal behaviour, design ethos and community. The guiding principle of Swedish politics and culture is the consideration for the well-being of the group as opposed to just the individual. The idea that everyone should have access to the same rights and benefits is the core of Lagom. For an individual, Lagom means taking part in communal society by not taking too much or too little. Thus, you live in moderation, and moderation is good for everyone. When everyone is treated as an equal, society thrives. Hence, in Sweden, Lagom is applied to almost every element of society. Lagom food, Lagom drink, Lagom work hours. The idea that a balanced amount of everything leads to a just and equal society and, overall, a good life. On the other hand, if there's one word that defines our modern lives, it's excess. We're encouraged to function with a go big or go home mentality. We strive to be the very best version of ourselves, the version that looks good to the outside world, the one that makes for fast-paced, exciting, Instagrammable lives. We're overworked and overbooked. We go from one task to another, juggling to-do lists and pushing through exhaustion. We show one side of ourselves publicly, the glossy, put-together, happy no matter what side, but we keep the other locked away in private. Despite how it looks online, more and more of us are stressed, strained, and burnt out. Our expectations of what we can do and what we should do are far beyond anything we're able to realistically achieve. This all comes at a social cost, not to mention an environmental one. We live larger and larger. Our houses, our cars, our appetites, and our overall impact on the earth is ever increasing. As we start to meet our own personal limits, and society and the environment are meeting theirs, many of us are asking ourselves what changes we can make. How can we live better? There is no easy pill for a healthy, sustainable, balanced lifestyle, one that will change your life overnight, but a Lagom approach may be part of the answer. Applying a sense of Lagom to our everyday lives, be it in what we eat, what we wear, how we live, how we work, might just be the antidote to our modern, consumption-led world as it embraces a more balanced, sustainable lifestyle that embraces the pleasures of existence rather than those of consumption. Lagom celebrates the idea of just enough, which is the perfect space between minimalism and living in excess. And this particular brand of socialism is partly the reason why Sweden consistently ranks top 10 in the happiest countries in the world. The good news is that we don't have to be Swedish to understand or even embrace the concept of Lagom, which is why we have this video broken up into 4 main categories: work, home, health, and environment. In all of them, we look at ways to live more Lagom, to be more intentional and to be mindful, and to live better with less. Number 1. Lagom at work. Sweden is a country of many work benefits, from paid parental leave to sabbaticals to extensive paid holiday, all policies that create a social structure focused on the well-being of all its citizens. Parents, for example, who have to stay home from work when a child's not well, have access to a government smartphone app so they can file for their benefits, which allows them to be paid for their child's sick day. Also, the minimum amount of paid holiday days in Sweden is 25, and many workers enjoy more. According to OECD research, the average Swedish worker works 1,600 hours per year. To put that number in perspective, the average in the UK is 1,700 and 1,800 in the United States. Only about 1% of Swedish workers work long hours. One of the lowest rates amongst OECD countries, where the average is 13%. This limits the negative effects often associated with long work hours, such as personal health and stress. Swedes believe that putting in overtime means that you aren't working efficiently enough during your regular hours. Meanwhile, we in the majority of the rest of the world follow the mentality that honors long work hours. If you tell your boss you did just the right amount of work to get the job done, they might just raise his or her eyebrows, wondering why you didn't go the extra mile or give it 110% and simply delivered what was asked for. This is because we see working long hours as proof of commitment and dedication to both our bosses and our personal career goals. We think that if we're not working too much, we're not working enough, which is why the majority of us don't even take what meager minimal vacation days we receive. We believe that we can have it all. We believe we can be perfect. But if we're honest with ourselves, we know that in reality this is completely unachievable. Instead of perfection, a Lagom lifestyle is about finding balance in being good enough, where we can allow ourselves to enjoy satisfaction in a job well done that's performed within appropriate boundaries. Following this approach, you may not rise to the status of CEO or get a six-figure salary, but if these are things that you want, or at least things that you think you want, then you have to ask yourselves if you can live with the compromises you'll have to make in the form of health and relationships. To have it all is a myth. But to have what we want in a moderate amount can be achievable if we let go of our expectations and self-judgments. You need to realize that being happy is not about being the best. It's about identifying what your strengths and desires are, and then allowing yourself to be satisfied with the outcome, even if the outcome doesn't look like the life that you see your friends having on Instagram. Integrating Lagom into your work life could take a variety of forms. If you know you spend too much time working, remember that in a Lagom mindset, that means you're inefficient at your job. So ask yourself, instead of working long, how can I work better? If we retrain ourselves to think more about the quality of the work and less about the quantity, we can find that balance. That also means focusing on being efficient, identifying what's a priority and what isn't. It means reducing multitasking, taking more action and less thinking. Manage the expectations of your employer. You'll give your best effort while you're in the office, but after 8 hours, you're heading out to enjoy the rest of the day. Make plans like a class, dinner with friends, a date with your dog for quality park time. Anything like this that can help you achieve that Lagom work-life balance. But most importantly, take all the vacation you're owed, because it will help you live fully both in your real life and your work life. Number 2. Lagom at home. There's a Swedish proverb that says, "Away is good, but home is best." As humans, we desire to create a home, to nest, so to speak. Since the beginning of time, we've been building spaces for us to take shelter in. We want that home space to be safe, to protect us from the outside world. Today, a home provides us with a physical and an emotional shelter. Creating a space that you love means creating a home and not just a house. This allows for a sense of balance within your home space, one that encourages you to be content in the now. When we live in a space that we love, one that's in balance with our personality and needs, we're also less likely to be constantly searching for more things to make it better. We're content with what we have. With the not too much, not too little, just right definition of Lagom, it's easy to jump to the conclusion that a Lagom design home is a minimal home. Swedes believe that good design can improve lives. There, the houses are light and bright, with a wood and natural materials heavy aesthetic that's appealing and inexpensive. But according to the experts, Lagom is much more than a way a home looks. Things should either have a functional value or a deeply sentimental value, and anything that falls outside of those categories is considered as excess. For example, a shelf full of books is just a burden if you never read them. The same goes for anything that's cluttering up your space without a purpose. So it's less about the style of your decorating than the overall feel of your home. If Swedish design isn't your cup of tea, you can still have a Lagom living room. The Lagom way of decorating is choosing quality over quantity. Today, we all live in a throwaway culture. It's easy to find a new table and a sofa for not much more than the price of a good meal out. And because they're cheap, there's not much stopping us from switching them when we get tired of them. But this all comes at a cost. With cheap materials and cheap goods comes cheap labour and cutting corners on environmental standards, which makes our society and the environment suffer. So changing our attitudes isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Cultivating an awareness and appreciation for good, quality craftsmanship is not about the look of products, but also about the impact of those products. Up front, these products may have a more expensive price tag, but they're long-term investments, lasting over decades and perhaps even generations, both in what they're made of and how they look. According to Nordic Lagom, creates a safe style, since by definition they take longer to appear outdated and therefore don't have to be switched so regularly. As Lagom means the balance of two extremes, the other practice of having a Lagom lifestyle is not going to excess. Say, if you're buying a new house, then don't fill a new room with expensive stuff all bought right away. Instead, add things slowly over time, or maybe leave some places open and empty. It means not buying things that you might get rid of in the future, and if this video inspires you to practice Lagom at home, then declutter your house. Get rid of all the things that don't serve a purpose. Shift your mindset from "I need to get rid of this stuff" to "I'm looking forward to having more space to stretch and dance in my living room." Number 3. Lagom for health. Lagom is both a mental and physical state of being. It's all about moderation, meaning less about focusing on the things that we don't have and instead appreciating what we do. It's a celebration of a balanced way of living, a balance between the body and mind. In the modern world, both adults and teenagers suffer from mental health issues related to stress, and it has far-reaching consequences, including reduced productivity and less happiness than our incomes suggest we should have. And that affects our physical health too. As a result, we then want a quick fix to wellness. We believe in fighting through stress by being productive. And as many of us are overwhelmed with work and stress and go on until we're completely frazzled and on the brink of a breakdown, the Swedes believe in prioritizing fighting stress first so that they can be more productive long term. They do this by taking regular breaks to recharge and taking care of themselves with regular exercise. This doesn't have to be excessive, and that's not Lagom either. Fighting stress before it starts means that you don't wait until you're sick to have a day off and take regular breaks to achieve a work-life balance. Why not take a half day off, not for a doctor's appointment once you're already ill, but instead to wake up late and get brunch and go for a massage when you're feeling absolutely fine? You know, do something that brings you joy, like going to see a film or going to a concert, for example. Taking time for yourself to really relax, recharge, rejuvenate, it'll allow you to be more consistently productive and efficient in your work. If we construct our lives in a more intentional way, being aware of ourselves, our surroundings and our expectations, and start removing all of the non-essential items both physically and emotionally, we can begin to find a constant happiness with who we are, not who we hope to become. Our modern world is a constant reminder of everything that we have to be grateful for: health, a home, a job, peace. These are considered luxuries by many in the world. It would be a shame to take those things for granted, and a shame not to be able to take advantage of the world around us because we're suffering physically and emotionally. Number 4. Lagom and nature. The Swedish environment is one of extremes. Sparse, dark and cold in the winter, flourishing and full of light in the summer. The hardships of the landscape shaped the population. There was no choice but to adapt to the world around them. Nature dictated behaviour. Today, when modern conveniences like heating and lighting make it easier to get through the harsh winters, there's still a deep respect for nature. Sometimes we're so engaged in our fast-tempo urban lifestyles that we forget to simmer down, take a deep breath and start seeing the beautiful things in life, like nature. Swedish citizens have realised that problem, so they decided to get closer to nature. Every week, some Swedish families will head to the forest with no Wi-Fi, TV, electronic device, or urban noises or distractions. Just the sheer eye-beneficial green, that awe-inspiring sky, and living the simple life in a primal cabin. Sweden has made a lot of contributions to our planet, and Swedish ways of acting environmentally friendly can be presented in various ways. Almost every car in Stockholm now is eco-friendly. The trains and railroad cars run on renewable energy, and very soon the shipping companies are about to adjust their types of fuels. There are currently 7 billion of us humans on this planet, and that's projected to rise to 9.5 billion by 2050. Our impact on the world is significant and growing daily. Consumption of food, water, and energy is increasing at an exponential rate, pushing our planet to the very limits of what it can sustain. Many of our daily habits and products have impacts far beyond what we can see. Our wardrobes have a footprint. For example, it takes about 8,000 litres of water to produce just one pair of jeans, not to mention the amount of pesticides that go into growing the cotton used to make them. Our consumption-focused societies are wasteful and come at a social and environmental cost. Over the last few decades, we've taken every resource and space we can get. If we continue with our excessive consumption, we'll strip the resources of the world today, leaving nothing for tomorrow. Hence, sustainability is a global issue that requires a multitude of approaches, and the solutions start at home. Here is an ideal place for a more Lagom attitude. There are many things that we can't give up on every day, like getting to work, for example. But a more Lagom approach can help us adapt to our daily routines, such as taking the bus or cycling instead of driving to the office. If you love nature, support it. If we all lived just a bit more Lagom and more balanced with regards to work, consumption, our homes, and what we eat, we would greatly reduce our overall impact on the planet. Living Lagom means that the next generation can live Lagom too. Applying elements of Lagom to our everyday lives can not only make us feel better, but also help us to pursue a more sustainable path. Because when we're satisfied with just the right amount of all things, we live in better balance with ourselves, our community, and our environment. If you enjoyed this video, please do make sure to check out our full Philosophies for Life playlist, and of course for more videos to help you find success and happiness using ancient philosophical wisdom, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.